Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast for December 5th, 2016. My name is Mike. I run the channel. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I know it's gotten big. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, though. It's really important to keep the channel going, and it makes it so that I can keep on doing the channel for you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Watch an ad occasionally, please. Let's move on to the scores real fast, and then let's get on to today's lineup. Score there is 265.75. Go ahead and pause the video, guys. I'm going to do it for brevity. It was a cash game winner, obviously, across the board. Let's move on to FanDuel. 284.3. Oh, I have my quintuple up. It doesn't matter. This was also a cash game winner across the board. People will comment and they're like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We need to get moving on. You can pause the video and check the scores. And if you won, to thumb up the video. And if you won, great. Your last, then everyone will know. Thanks. All right, let's move on. Wait, I'm YouTube. I don't want that. All right, today's optimal lineup real fast because we're going to go through the positions in a moment, and I'll go through the slate. I mean, the slate is interesting today. So this is DraftKings right now, and this changed as of an hour ago because we got news that Rondo got his ass suspended. I don't know how he did that. I guess he threw a towel, or because he was pissed off at the way something was playing, or whatever. It really doesn't matter. He got hot-headed. That's fine for basketball. I understand things happen. Maybe you get a technical, and you sit. It's okay, but you get suspended for a game, and salaries have already been set on both sides. Then the replacement that's going to pick up the minutes is like gravy. So in this case, it actually is obvious. They've already even named it. Jeriah Grant gets the start today. Now the beauty of this is if you guys go back to November 15th this month and look up the box score, you guys are going to see for yourself what kind of stat line he put up. 18 points, boards, rebounds, 35. 35 fantasy points. So let's say he goes within the range, guys, because my models say he goes within 30 to 40 points today. So if he does go within 30 to 40 points, fantasy-wise, think about that. That is what kind of value? 8 to 12 times? That's ridiculous. So this is how last-minute value changes lineups really quickly. Jeriah Grant at point guard. Barton at shot guard. And you're like, where's Westbrook? Wait. Hollis Jefferson. Gibson. Gortat, Wall, Bogdanovic, and Westbrook. Bogdanovic's the only questionable one. It's like, but if there's room somewhere else because some other value opens and it's a massive multiplier, then it will be moved and I'll notice it on Twitter. The DraftKings. FanDuel. And I'm going to show you guys my lineup spread in a moment too, just for helpful purposes on cash game betting. But today, point guard, Westbrook and Grant. Of course, we're going to have Grant. Grant should almost be at the top part. Westbrook is a little malleable. You can take Wall maybe. Daniels and Barton for your shooting guard. Hollis Jefferson and Barnes for your small forward. Davis and Gibson for your power forward. It does say probable, and that popped up an hour ago. So it's kind of like, you have to wonder. It's like, do you want to play Davis? And so that actually played up to me because at 11-9, I mean, he can have bad games. Most of his games are good, but he is not Westbrook. He is not consistent, period. Westbrook is going to give you an awesome floor, period. He can anchor a cash game lineup even at these amazing prices. So that's why he's there, especially with the news that opened up with Jeriah Grant. Because you can have Harrison there too, and I'll explain in a moment. Gibson should be obvious as long as Rondo's gone. Now there's even extra value that's already opened up. And against Portland, I mean, Lillard is a horrible defender and he's their best player. And you can chalk the rest of the team up and see where that game is going to go. And Embiid for your center. Guys, I said this before in an earlier chat room, and this is your up, down, left, right cheat code for today. I mean, why do you not take against Denver too? Really, against Denver. So just soak Embiid to the bank. And a lot of people are going, it's chalk. There's good chalk sometime, guys. There really is, guys and gals. there really is good chalk. Okay? So play it, because it's just, why are you giving up a 6 times or 7 times multiplier? That makes no sense. Do it. That's the anchor for every winning lineup, at the very freaking top. I'm just trying to win cash with these, but the very top. And that's today's lineup. Let's go ahead and just go through the positions real quick. We'll do a minute each one. We got Westbrook. You guys don't need to speak much. Lillard, well, it's opened up a bit now with Rondo gone. I mean, Jeriah Grant is horrible, and so the question is, are they going to switch up their defensive rotation around them as they come back? They won't switch their offense. They'll just jump back the other direction. But I mean, that's an interesting call now with the way it's gone. It's a GPP pick. Wall was wonderful. You have to love Wall today, no matter what. I mean, the Nets are the worst in the league against a point guard position. There's no question that's a great pick. If you want to drop Westbrook and save $3,300 and upgrade another position and it just works out great, do it. I have no questions with that today. It's a valid strategy. We have an 11-game slate, so I'm going to play a normal amount, but it's not a go heavy day for sure, because if you go heavy, you could probably lose some of your winnings. God, it's just slam packed with choices. Curry can always go off. Thomas, even against the beard, it's probably his chance for a ceiling today. I would say GPP wise, 45. I wish it would say 50, but I guess IT's done 55ish before. So I mean, down this season 10%. Let's say 50, but that's a ceiling. I'm not saying he's going to do that. Lowry, Walker against Denver. I would skip Walker today against Dallas. Denver. Teague, you can pass on Teague again today, I think. Yeah, pass on Teague. Look at that, just slam packed with. Not you. Schroeder. Okay, you have to love Schroeder today. Schroeder's an awesome play point guard. If you guys want to bounce up from Jeriah Grant, you don't think it's going to happen because it's a punt play. And you're saying he's going to get 70 times, but he's not going to do that. Schroeder, solid lock. You can probably run him instead of Westbrook for a decent 6 times amount. So if you don't think Westbrook can run up to 70 points today or 75 points, I mean, for GPP is what I'm saying. I'm trying to get 300 and change guys and be solid no matter what. So remember that. This is a cash lineup. In a GPP, Schroeder looks, and even in some cash lineups, I would have no issues with that. Dallas, Deron Williams, no. UDA, Frazier. Skip Frazier, you guys saw what happened with Etwan Moore basically starting, and now finally Frazier's lost his positioning. No, he's second string. UDA, no. Rodriguez looks good against Denver. That's a GPP pick for sure. Beverly, and now you're getting to cheap enough. And Harrison is another great pick at point guard today. Looks wonderful with the minute run he's getting and his 25, 30 points, which is a lot. It's a lot. But Jeriah Grant can probably do the same thing as what my projections are saying, so that's why I took Grant instead of Harrison. It's really tough at point guard, and you need to spend up in places when you start taking value, because you can make a lineup of a whole bunch of cheap people, but if they all get 30 points, you're going to lose. Shelvin Mack against the Lakers. Gets more usage than Exum, even if Exum does get the start again, and they shouldn't be given him. And he's fallen behind. We already know that, but I mean, I don't know why they give Exum the start sometimes. I don't get their coaching. It's fine. It is what it is. As long as they realize and they play him for more minutes, then you can be happy with that as a cheap selection if you need to really punt a point guard position. Like, I got to punt even cheaper. Well, then there you go. I don't know how you go cheaper than Grant, though, because Grant is literally $3,500. So, at the shooting guard, the Beard against Boston, blowout. The Beard does great, but he only gets 50 because that's a blowout. Alphabet, San Antonio opponent. To me, in this position, you don't need to pay up for the stud, which makes it really an interesting kind of, okay, cool, I don't need to pay up. Give me a second, guys. That easier for you guys. And what else we got here? Beal. I would drop down from both these guys. McCollum, again, is interesting because you can play them against each other, and but D-Wade I think that is a little pricey. It should be around 66, 65, 68 somewhere, not 7. And Beal though is good. Beal should be basically at 7 or plus for this game. It's just a slight discount. If you're going to play him and you're wondering, take Beal, no question. Bradley and Depot are both GPP picks because they're scoring dependent, along with Clay. I mean, the slate is loaded with an 11-game slate, like I told you guys. Kilpatrick looks wonderful at 5,600. Wow. That's probably 30 points for sure, which is like a 5.5 times value. And that's like, well, I have Daniels, which I'm projecting around a 6 or 7, and Barton, which is projecting at like a 7. So it's like, it's really tough to play today, guys, with so many options out there and so many different opponents. I mean, the slate is just incredibly juicy. There's a lot of guys that can overperform, and I think the pros are going to have a field day today. When you max enter and a whole bunch of these different combinations with good guys, you'd be surprised which ones come out at the top. I got my Lakers jersey on, guys, today. I don't know if you can see it in the photo. I'll pull it up a little, but that's for my boys, Williams and Clarkson, because basically we already know that they've got Calderon out, so they're going to have little bumps in usages today. GPP picks. I'm not taking them in cash because, like I've said before, I like my money. But for GPP, sure, I love them. And I think you don't need to spend cheap unless you're going to go with Daniels. You can look at Etoile more because he's starting, and yes, he can possibly put up 25, 28 points. I agree. So can Daniels, and they're the same price. So if you want to go there, sure. And even Allen below him could have himself a decent game. They're both. Memphis has been really beat up, and they have a lot of scrubs running at extended minutes. That's all you can say. And they're still cheap. FanDuel doesn't adjust them up because every once in a while they put up enough of a stinker where their ownership stays low enough. They base it on ownership as well. When people jump on the bandwagon, that's really when FanDuel increases salaries. DraftKings is more skill-based. They jump on it quicker. I don't see much else at the shooting guard today. Honestly, really cheap yet. No, there's no point in that. Let's move on to small forward. I have Hollis, Jeffersons, and Barnes, but let's stop at the tar. We got Durant against the Pacers. I think it's too expensive for that type of a game, even at Golden State. Golden State is wonderful, but that's a little too much. He should be just right at 10. So what is that, 4% increase above what you should pay? It's going to be really tight on a day like today with so many good scorers. So there's no reason to, you can't get every stud. James against Toronto. I like King James, but I like him for more around like a 40 today because there's blowout risk there. You guys wouldn't think it, but there is. Butler against Portland, possibly GPP. Paul George, not yet. Leonard against the Bucks. Ooh, interesting, intriguing. It would be contrarian if you took a day. I don't think anyone's really going to be on Leonard today. Everyone's going to be on Hayward today. Hayward will have decent ownership, 10, 15%, I would think. Against the Lakers, there's no reason not to, even though it's Utah, because the Lakers suck against the small forward. So, Chandler, not with Barton coming back, is just too much. Porter, yeah, the Nets suck. They're like the new Lakers of this season. Sorry, Brooklyn, but you got other teams, so. Let's see. What else we got? Harkless. Maybe Harkless today. And Bogdanovic. There's nothing wrong with Bogdanovic today. He's getting the minutes in. It's Washington. You want to target that certain games today, you know, with the over-unders and things like that. Ingram. Well, it's almost loaded at the cheap part, which is why I went cheap at this position, except I went expensive in a moment. But Ingram and Robertson are both excellent picks today. Robertson gets a ton of minutes, and Ingram gets a ton of minutes. And the Utah opponent scares me a bit, but it's when you get 35 minutes, you don't need a lot to pay value. You know, Robertson is almost a similar run, 32 minutes or so. I'm taking Hollis Jefferson in the higher score, and you know, I'm going to kind of target the game. There isn't much way of it doing. They all look decent. So, And is there much else? Williams at small forward for Memphis. The Memphis is so loaded with like cheap guys, it's kind of crazy. But you can predict their run now, at least if you look at their last couple games, because they've been steady with their second string that's playing first string now, at least. There's a lot of little miniature choices. GPPs are going to go out of style today. There's so much choice on an 11-game slate. Davis, game time decision. He's likely to play, and I think that he's made of glass though, so you have to worry. And I will post if I get more news early enough, and at an 8 o'clock start, I probably will get news that he's going to go 50-50 or doubtful, at which point I would change the lineup. If he's probable at this point, I'm going to just play him and let him run. You need to spend up at certain points, and Westbrook and Davis seems just fine to me. You got Green, not against the Pacers today. Love, not against Toronto today. Aldridge is getting cheap enough where you start to like him. Against the Bucks, I think he could put up 30, 35. It's not really enough to pay value, but at 35, it does and more. He's right in the range finally. It's not a screaming buy. On a day like today, you almost want to buy everywhere because there's so much value. Why not? I like Booker today. Booker has upside with Washington. You really want to target that Wizards-Nets game. You really do. Play it in different combos every way you wish, but 1-1 and however you do it. But I mean, obviously calling the winner is usually better, but I don't see much else. Because you start getting really, there's a lot of just so many choices today. I mean, Trey Lyles cheap. I mean, Sark cheap. I hope I said that right. I have no clue. These guys always have crazy names. Muscala comes in against OKC. If it goes a blowout one way or the other, I hope no one will be on him. Of course, the guy has been horrible lately. You know what I mean? Okay. And center. Let's finish this out. Howard, Horford, Gasol, Lopez, Gobert, Embiid, and Turner and Gortat. This is simple because we don't have a high dollar Whiteside or something or Cousins. Howard you can target because of the game. Horford you can target because there will be boards aplenty in that game. Gasol you can target. Are you guys getting a theme for today? There's so many choices, it's going to be tough for a cash game, which is why I put together a cash lineup that's based on multipliers and not so much, because I think a lot of guys, you guys are going to be on comments, yeah, this guy's good, and I'm going to be like, yeah, I agree, they look good. This is a day where you can want to play 150 different entries, and the pros are going to just thrive today. Turner, I would pass on Turner actually, believe it or not, guys. Gortat I would take. Gortat looks lovely. It's a beautiful position. Then people won't play him thinking they can get Embiid, at the same price. He'll probably have low ownership. Capella against Boston. I wouldn't take JV today. Rolo gets a bump though with Rondo being out. Henson, even though it's a San Antonio opponent because he's too cheap with his performance per minute. And I think that's about it on the cheap end. I don't see much else there. Maybe Plumlee. Where was he? Did I pass the Plum Dog? I passed the Plum Dog. We're playing against Chicago. Alright. So that's that. Alright, let's go ahead and do your 2-minute roundup then. So for DraftKings, your optimal FanDuel lineup for December 5th, 2016 is Jeriah Grant at point guard, Barton at your shooting guard, Hollis Jefferson at your small forward, Gibson at your power forward, Gortat for your center, Wall for your guard position, Bogdo for your forward, and Westbrook at your utility position. Yeah, Westbrook, guys. For FanDuel, Westbrook and Grant at your point guard positions, Daniels and Barton at your shooting guard, Hollis Jefferson and Barnes for your small forward, Davis and Gibson for your power forward, and Embiid for your center. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching Fantasy Forecast for December 5th, 2016. If you won last night, or if you like today's lineup, please leave a thumbs up. If not, please leave a comment below with your opinion. I respond once a day. Follow on Twitter for last minute lineup changes and news. The link is in the video description. And please subscribe and watch an ad occasionally to support the free channel. Alright, have a great day, going out there and go win some money.